send thee one by one. Well, one was a itty bitty baby,
wrapped in swaddling clothing, lying in the manger. Born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee?
I will send thee two by two. Well, two was Paul and Silas. One was a itty bitty baby, wrapped
In swaddling clothing, lying in the manger. Born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee?
I will send thee three by three. Well, three was the three kings riding. Two was the Paul and Silas. One was the itty bitty baby,
Wrapped in swaddling clothing, lying in the manger. Born in Bethlehem. Children, go where I send thee. How shall I send thee? I will send thee four by four. Well, four was the four coming knocking at the door.
three was the three kings riding. Two was the Paul and Silas. One was the itty bitty baby,
Wrapped in swaddling clothing, lying in the manger. Born in Bethlehem. Born in Bethlehem.
light one candle, light one candle, light one candle, light one flame.
Light one candle, light one candle, light one candle on a long winter's night.
In a world full of darkness, in a world full of pain, all it takes is a sparkle to get back that you came. And we cry out of sadness to bring hope to a life like the promise of the dawn on a long winter's night.
Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to this beautiful morning, middle of December. This is Unity Church-Unitarian. I'm Reverend Lara Cowtan. I'm Minister of Congregational Care here. My pronouns are she and her. And I'm delighted to be joined on the chancel this morning by Worship Associate Sara Ford and so many incredible voices. I'm grateful to you for being here this morning. I know there may be a few other things you might have on your to-do list this time of year, and it is good to come together. I welcome especially those of you online who are joining us from wherever you are and whenever you tune in. And to those who are new here or visiting, welcome. I'm glad you found your way here. If you are new, I invite you to fill out the card, the welcome visitor card that's in the pew pocket in front of you, and drop it in the offertory basket as it passes you by a little later in the service. We have a lot going on here this week. There are some parents in the crowd. Okay. I'm going to just refer you to this insert in your order of service this week at Unity, but I also want to draw your attention to a couple of special things that we have this week. On Thursday evening at 7 in Ames Chapel, we're having a Blue Holiday service. And on Saturday, we're having a solstice celebration. There are many other things happening. Today, Finding Yourself at Unity session is the Q&A with Reverend Oscar Sinclair, and so he will meet you in the center room at 10:15. And after church today, you are invited to share your sweet voices and holiday cheer for caroling. People will gather in the parish hall at 1 o'clock and then head out to residences, where senior residences and homes where we have members together for caroling. So please do that. Enjoy some caroling together. But for now, we're going to lean into this service, settle in. Whatever brought you here, whoever you are, whatever burdens or gifts or wounds that you carry, you are welcome here. May you find this time together to be nourishing and to help bring balance to your days, to help you live a life of service and joy. We enter into our time of worship now with the ringing of our bell.
Good morning. We are so excited to share with you a song that has become a youth choir classic. It is called Night of Silence. And when I turn around and invite, we encourage you to sing Silent Night with us. Well, not with us, but along with us.
Winter of life, we tremble in shadow.
faith, hope, love. I offer you this season faith that living affirms, hope that caring illumines, love that matters more than anything. Faith, hope, love, these three, not as gifts I offer them, for they are not mine to give. They are yours and mine to share humbly with one another. Fumbling, we hold their promise in our hands. Faintly, we speak the trembling words. Faith, hope, love, these three I offer you this season. Come, let us worship together. Let us kindle our chalice flame to illuminate this sacred hour with the unison words printed in your order of service. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, the light of truth, and the warmth of love. Please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, number 234 in the gray hymnal, In the Gentle of the Moon. Please join with us in a responsive reading. This is the season of anticipation, of expecting, hoping, of wanting. This is the time of expecting the arrival of something or someone.
We are waiting. This is the time of living in darkness, in the hues of unknowing, of being quiet, of reflecting on a year almost past, waiting for a new beginning, for a closing or an end. This is the time for digesting the lessons of days gone past, anticipating the future for which we are waiting.
Waiting for a world which may know justice, waiting for a lasting peace, waiting for the bridge to span the divides which separate us, waiting for promise or hope. For all of this,
we are waiting. Each time we gather for worship, we set aside a moment to expand the caring ministry of this congregation. Let us take that moment now. Let us pause amidst the busy breathlessness of this time and take a long, slow, deep breath together. In this community, we generously give and openly receive compassionate care in times of joy and sorrow and transition. Together, we recognize the cycle of life and death, the circle of love, compassion, and witness that is at the center of this and every sacred community. Today, from in our midst, we send prayers for the family of Michaela Schicker, cousin and godchild of Unity member Nick Schicker. Michaela died December 6th in a car accident, leaving behind 5 young children in Battle Lake. Nick and family are grieving, along with Michaela's family and community in Otter Tail County. Our healing prayers are with Rochelle Lockridge, who is recovering from a fall last Sunday, which gave her a minor concussion and broken arm. She's doing her best to rest quietly at home instead of singing with the choir this week. And behold in our caring embrace Judith Mitchell, who's been struggling with multiple physical and emotional health concerns these past few months, feeling isolated from the Unity community by her limited mobility. We send healing and compassionate care in this season of loneliness. We lift up all those among us who today are carrying a burden of grief, illness, loneliness, pain. Those who are struggling with situations and emotions made even more complex by this season of darker and longer nights, perhaps bittersweet memories of loved ones and Christmases long past. We pray too for our neighbors in prison at this time, and those who care for family members in ill health, for those who struggle financially and find this season especially challenging as they try to make ends meet. We pray for those impacted by violence, near and far. May all find healing, love, hope, peace, rest. May all find a place to settle in and simply be. during this season, this complex season. I invite you to speak aloud into this holy sanctuary or keep silent in the embrace of your own heart the names of those that you wish to lift today. Let us join in prayer this morning with words adapted from Cricket Hall, followed by silence for our own personal reflection. O creative Spirit of love and life, in this time of waiting, may we hold the world in our hearts. In this time of waiting, may we hold each other's hands. In this time of waiting, may we be thoughtful and introspective. In this time of waiting, may we delight in the darkness and all it teaches us. In this time of waiting, may we rekindle the fires of hope, love, joy, and peace within ourselves and our communities. In this time of waiting, may we become ready for the coming day. And now, in this time of silence, may we find peace and rest in our breathing. Amen.
The season of Advent is one of preparation for a new light arriving. For many, it is the time to buy and wrap presents, time to shop, to bake, to buy new table decorations or dig out the special traditional ones, time to clean the house, and time to retell stories about holiday joy. Advent, however, is a season which invites us to go much deeper than that. Advent asks something of us. The season presents an opportunity for us, and this season challenges us. Years ago, attending my first solstice celebration at a Unitarian church in Minneapolis, I remember so clearly hearing that the solstice is a time for the ritual surrounding this question. Are you okay by yourself in the dark, alone? Are you okay by yourself in the dark, alone? This can be a difficult question, even a terrifying one for some of us to ask. It is precisely because it is difficult that we often choose to distract ourselves with triple-checking the colored lights and festive celebrations and the logistics of it all instead. This is a season when our collective habits of self-medication increase. The darker and colder it gets, the more we seek whatever fleeting comfort intoxication brings. The volume of calls to crisis lines increases, as do overdoses. As the author of a new study on this correlation from Brown University explains, for many people, this time of year brings with it a fair degree of moaning, groaning, and perhaps even depression. Why would it be any different for those who struggle with drug and alcohol abuse? For people with drug problems, the winter is harsh. Life becomes that much more difficult, and the urge to use becomes that much more pressing. We also know in our bones the cultural expectation that as the holidays be joyful and full of happy gatherings with family and friends. And for many, this pressure only underscores and intensifies their feelings of sadness or loneliness, isolation or grief. Hence our own service focused on the holiday blues. And more than the season of long, cold, dark days of January and February are coming as they always seem to do. The looming date of January 6th brings fresh memories of a traumatic event in our country's history. And after that will come January 20th. And for many of us, this will be what seems like an impossible day to bear. Threats to public education, to our fragile and beautiful planet, threats to deport beloved community members, to our beloved transgender community members, to the freedom of the press, to women's rights to reproductive freedom and protection from sexual assault, and on a global scale, threats to a political and economic landscape that is our world. These days will come, as will the days that follow. None of us knows which threats will materialize or when, or what they will look like, or what tools we will need to be of use. But those days are coming and we will meet them. And so, in this season of Advent, the darkness has settled and the cold has arrived, promising to bring more of its biting winds in the dark months ahead. Might this not be a time for distractions, whether about place settings and the perfect gifts or that one more drink? And let us remember, though these dark days offer the opportunity for this necessary process of taking stock, we are, none of us, ever truly alone.
In this caring community, we cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We freely and compassionately share our faith, our presence, and our resources. Our generosity connects us one to another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality with each other and with our world. The offerings that we collect each week support our community partners. Today, your offerings will be shared with the Evergreen Quilters, a group that loves to sew and raise money for community nonprofits that focus on children and food security, education and housing for all. Twice a year, they sell small items in the parish hall. Maybe you picked something up last week, like I did. They hold a raffle every other year for a queen-size quilt. And all the money raised supports Holly Q. Brown Food Shelf, Jeremiah Program, and Project Home. Your generous donations today will help with some of the large expenses that the Evergreen Quilters incur when they make raffle quilts and Celebration of New Lives quilts. Will the ushers please come forward? Thank you.
prepare. Strange how one word will so hollow you out, but this word has been in the wilderness for months, years. This word is what remained after everything else was worn away by sand and stone. It is what withstood the glaring of sun by day, the weeping loneliness of the moon at night. Now it comes to you racing out of the wind, eyes blazing and waving its arms, its voice ragged with desert but piercing and loud as it speaks itself again and again. Prepare, prepare. It may feel like the world is leveling you, emptying you as it asks you to give up what you have known. It is impolite and hardly tame, but when it falls upon your lips, you will wonder at the sweetness, like honey, that finds its way into the hunger you had not known was there.
I'm never ready for Christmas. Is there such a thing as being ready for Christmas? There were several years there where I knocked myself out planning, sending greeting cards, finding the perfect presents for everyone, and making an artwork of the wrapping. My home was transformed into an homage to seasonal decorations spanning many cultures. Inside and outside, twinkling lights, festive. Even my plants had little red and green stockings. It's not funny. There were colorful, quilted, oversized stockings, the proper kind, that were so full of fun and tasty things that they could no longer hang. They had to lie on the floor. Cookie tins brimming with a variety of fresh baking, and the air in my home was scented. Cloves and orange and pine. And not all of it coming from the tea light candles where I dropped the seasonal oil. There was music playing, of course, and I never shied away from Little Drummer Boy. I even made eggnog from scratch. There's a very special family recipe. It's worth it. The centerpiece of my table was an Advent wreath made from a twisted, gnarled piece of apple tree. It was a branch, and it held 4 pillar candles, that start out at different heights, and then they end up the same height like magic. It was surrounded by little cedar branches and woven with red ribbons and berries and pine cones. It was glorious. Right now, bah humbug. I'm not doing that anymore. In recent years, there just seems to be less and less time to get ready for Christmas, and not just because I'm a minister, but so much of it just feels like a chore. It's lost its purpose. And yet, it just doesn't bring me joy as it much did, and I'm relieved not to be rushing around as I used to be, trying to do all of the things. But I feel some melancholy and wistfulness too. I'm grateful for those memories, and I know it brought me joy. But I still do relish this season, even if I haven't bought into all of the trappings of it. I love the sights and the sounds and the smells and the tastes. I'm grateful for the cookies that are stashed in the back here. But most of all, what I appreciate about this season is the quiet, the darkness, the moments of rest, the invitation to just hunker down for the winter. The stillness of winter that makes the tiniest speck of light, the tiniest speck of green, the flash of a bird on the snow eating seeds, the tinkle of laughter, these things that are everyday occurrences in the summer, these things stand out and are precious in the winter. Reminders that the darkness is not empty and is not forever. This time of Advent, this waiting and preparing, it's overshadowed by bustling commercialization, masking the deeper purpose of Advent. It's meant to be marked by a time to rest, a time to prepare, a time to each week light another candle and contemplate for a whole week. First, faith. What brings meaning to our life? That's the candle of the first Sunday of Advent. And then, hope. Hope is what opens us to the future, allowing us to be present. And then love. That generosity of spirit that we reach out and spread into the world, and we get back in spades in return. That third candle. And then finally, it culminates in a joyous celebration at the fourth and final week of Advent, ready for Christmas and the coming of a child who will change the world. But that's not really how it goes, is it? The story doesn't simply end there with all doing well, everything's rosy. The birth of a child has never been the end of any story. And it's always been with both hope and fear. Prepare. Prepare. Wait. Wait. But for what and how? Cultures have marked this time of year with meaningful traditions since time began. And solstice ceremonies have marked the point that the winter's shortest day and longest night begin to turn once more towards the warmth and the light of summer. The promises of fertile warmth, yes, it will indeed return. Things will bloom again, but it does not happen overnight. December is really just the beginning of the cold. We remember still what it felt like to have 70 degrees. Wasn't that just 2 weeks ago? It's just the beginning of the darkness. It's just the beginning of shoveling snow. Prepare. prepare. We have these celebrations to remind us how to do the hard things. Farmers spend the winter preparing. They pull out their old tools, they pull out anything that needed repair. They think how they can best nourish the plants that are needed next year. They choose their seeds, they plan the rotations, they test the soil, they repair and sharpen their tools, they knit, they read, they make music and babies and art. And the doing everything possible to prepare to plant again for an uncertain harvest. I've always thought that being a farmer is the most hopeful thing in the world. You never know. The best efforts might not bear fruit this season if the conditions aren't right. Hope and fear. But the fear does not keep people from preparing the way to what they hope for. So we're not really waiting for Christmas or preparing for Christmas. Maybe we're waiting for what we're afraid of, what we are hoping against, what we fear will keep our hopes from arriving, from the advent of realizing what we're hoping for. So in this time of preparation and waiting, it's not meant to be a passive time, but intentional, like those candles each week. Being with our fears, sitting in the quiet and the darkness in order to understand, to heal, to engage with our fears, with whatever is in need of repair in our life, whatever needs to be nourished or knit or created or celebrated. This is the preparation. This is the season that we have for that. Being with our fears, sitting in the quiet and the darkness in order to understand and heal and learn and find joy in that work. The love, the hope, the joy, it needs to be lived and held. But we should not and cannot ignore the reality that we are afraid of the coming year, of the challenges it might bring, fears about our own health or our loved ones, or the addictions that we might struggle with, or the battles with loneliness or guilt or anger, the things that we must take time to sit in the quiet and darkness and face. Are we okay? Alone in the dark? The only thing that overcomes fear is love. It is biblical and it is true. But another truth is that we are never truly alone in the dark. What do we do with our fear? We eventually have to open that closet door or look under the bed to see if there is indeed a boogie monster waiting there for us. But how do we get up the strength and courage? And then what do we say to it if it's there? What do we say to ourselves if it's not? Reverend Oscar reminded me that reading from Jan Richardson you heard earlier before referenced John the Baptist. Prepare preparing the way, the sweetness of honey, the bitterness of locust. He fed on both and was nourished. Prepare. You don't give up and go under when all is destroyed. He had energy and hope and sweetness that would not leave him despite the wilderness. People were trying to follow him, and he said, "No, not me. Prepare. Better is coming." There was destruction and bitterness and hopelessness, and there was honey, and all of it was nourishing. The locusts weren't a punishment. They were a reality, and they were necessary. The honey and the locust. He ate both. "I am not your hope," he said. "Your hope is yet to come. Prepare. Wait." We all have our own wilderness, and we all must eat of both honey and locust. Edward Erickson shared these words. "If as Herod we fill our lives with things and again things, if we consider ourselves so important that we must fill every moment of our lives with action, when will we have time to make the long, slow journey across the burning desert as did the Magi, or sit and watch the stars as did the shepherds, or to brood over the coming of a child as did Mary? For each one of us there is a desert to travel, a star to discover, and a being within ourselves to bring to life." Faith, hope, and love has never led to a simple solution of joy at the birth. It has never been the end of a story, only the answer of how we begin again and again. What is it that carries you through the wilderness? These are the strengths. These are the strengths that we need to nourish. The time that we spend here together in this community, the time that you spend alone with a candle in the dark. Prepare. Prepare. Are we okay in the dark, alone? We are not alone. And we're going to be okay. I close with these words by May Sarton. "Help us to be the always hopeful gardeners of the Spirit who know that without darkness, nothing comes to birth. As without light, nothing flowers. May we go forth into this season of Advent, embracing the dark, nourishing our spirits, and leading towards hope and joy. May it be so. Amen.
Jesus,
As we leave here today, heading out again into the hustle and bustle, let us remember in this season of Advent to lean into the darkness, to light a spark, to live with hope and joy and love and faith, and to light the way through this season. May you find rest, may you find peace, may you find gladness. Peace be with you.